Hi, Luminaires. How is everybody today? I hope you are well, healthy, and happy. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jamie Butler. I'm the Everyday Medium. It is my passion to take the woo-woo and allow it to be true, or show you how it is true. And also, it's my passion to help those wake up to their natural psychic and spiritual abilities. Today, the chat thread is subscribers only. So if you have subscribed to my channel for more than 20 minutes, you can come join me on the chat thread. And I hope you do today put fingers to the keyboard. Today, we're going to talk about how to remain spiritually in alignment in times of deep sorrow or loss or in the face of tragedy. And today there might be a few discussion topics that might be a little unsettling to you or uneasy. And I hope that you are able to stay with it and stay present with me instead of jumping down just lines of thought that maybe are too much for you at this time or can just get you confused. I'm wondering, can you hear me? It looks like things are not set up. And if you're not a member, like if you're not subscribed, you can't tell me if you can hear me or not. This is so much fun. Let's check. Output, internal speakers, input. But this mic is not working. This is my story today, guys. Let's try that. Hey, is that better? I hope I didn't lose you. So look at that. We're just a few minutes into it. Let's do take two. Okay. Sound is working. And we're going to start over. Hi to everybody. Hi, Luminaires. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Jamie Butler, the Everyday Medium. It is my passion to help those wake up to their spiritual and natural abilities. I today am going to be talking about topics that might be a little alarming to you or a little unsettling because we don't have a lot of examples in kind of real time to kind of dredge up emotions, and a lot of times we just want to step over them. So we are going to talk about in the face of tragedy. So there will be, I hope, and this is the foundation I want to lay out. It is my ask of you, my request, that as we have this conversation today, which, by the way, the chat thread is for subscribers. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. It is set for 20 minutes because I do know that today's talk can be a little alarming, and I just wanted to make sure if you wanted to make a comment that you were, in a place of waiting or staying calm or just in the community. I'm not quite certain what that means to say in the community, but in alignment. Because I would like today, as we were talking about this, if you have any desire or need to tell me that you are sorry for what is happening in my situation, if you feel sad for me, if you think that, you pity me or you are giving me your sympathy, I'm going to ask that you hold that. I'm not here today to solicit those emotions, nor do I need or require your sorry. I do not require the poor me energy, the victim energy. I don't ask for your sympathy. So what I am asking for you today is to exercise your spiritual muscles. Those times where you say, who am I going to be? And those times of heightened emotions. This might be a conversation of heightened emotion for you. So who are you going to be right now as we are in conversation? I'd like for you to do your best to stay present. I want to receive your attention and your words when you are fully in your body and you're not reaching into the past for some example or something that you experienced or something that sounds like what I'm sharing, I want you to stay present. I want you to be able to practice giving empathy. So, first of all, what is the difference between empathy and sympathy? They rhyme. That's not a different, but sympathy is when you give pity and you go, oh, I know that. Yes, me too. I've gone through that and it sucks. So, it energetically, when you do sympathy with somebody who is already in need or maybe not knowing what they need, or they're just emotionally raw or vulnerable, it kind of takes from them and leaves them with less. So that energy is almost thieving. It's a little vampirish. But we've been taught how to give sympathy as a, a positive or a favorable situation, that it says, you're not alone, is really what most people are really wanting to say when they give sympathy is bottom line the you're not no, you're not alone. You're not the only one. Somebody else has done this, somebody else has experienced this. I'm with you. But I'd like for you luminaires to now today practice the empathy. And the difference is the empathy is the compassion. It's the understanding of somebody and where they're coming from. It's the connection to them. It is staying present and not needing to share a similar situation to kind of let them know that they're not alone. It's about truly sitting with the other person and how they're feeling. I'm hoping my chat thread works. It is not saying much right now. And if you are feeling emotions that say, oh my God, I'm so happy that this is not me, like this is not my story, and you are pushing away, I understand in many ways that could be an act of you showing gratitude for what you have. But I'd like for you to practice emotional strength today and see if you can step over that. Be grateful for the abundance and the situation and the people in your life, but also let's see if you can put that aside and stay with a person that is sharing their experience. So it's not my goal today to come here to share with you my life in real time to get you to give to me anything special. I don't need I don't need special attention. What I feel called to do is to practice staying present, which is often breathing, identifying how my body feels, like my throat is tight, my muscles are soft, my heart is beating hard, my mouth is dry, my thoughts are really soft, they're not running. And through acknowledging physically how my body is feeling, how it's reacting, and what it's doing, it allows me to stay present and in my skin. And maybe we haven't practiced this a lot with each other, or maybe you haven't seen somebody in action doing it in front of you and being quite open. But this is what I feel called to do today, to allow my real time life to support a situation where I can come forward and share with you as a spiritual person how I manage or process my energy and my light in the face of tragedy. So, to begin our share, I would need to inform you of what I am identifying as tragedy. And in that, how I describe it is if you've known me and worked with me, I've been in the field of mediumship, psychic ability since I was born, but in the field publicly as a career for over 30 years. And I really enjoy sharing and teaching Because when I was growing up, I didn't have those people in my life that shared that way and stayed so vulnerable. I think vulnerability is an amazing power. As I pause to breathe, I've found so many things about myself. Do you know when I work out really hard, my muscles don't hurt till like the third day. Other people are sore the next morning, they can barely get out of bed, and I'm like, really? I'm just not that way. I get sore like on the third day. And I think I've discovered that my heart muscles are the same. That in a moment where there are high emotions, I can stay very calm and very present. And I can do so the following day. But when it comes to like the second or third day, I'm very raw. And you are getting me very raw. If you are typing in the chat thread, I still can't see anything. I'm going to type. Does this work? Can you see this? Because that's strange. Maybe Spirit is just doing that for a reason. That would be fun. Or not. Okay. So that distraction helped me get back in my body. So isn't that fun? I live on a street in Atlanta, Georgia, that is so darn special. Uh, we have chat threads. We stay in touch with each other. We inform who's where, doing what do you need. I mean, it is the classic, what I think as like country neighborhood where you walk across the street and you're like, can I borrow an egg, a cup of sugar? Do you have strange things? Like I need hot sauce. Anybody have some? Yeah, I'll run it over to you. So we hold each other very well, and we have held each other through all kinds of transitions of our beloved animal companions that were just are so superb through husbands transitioning through moves, new jobs, getting fired, new children coming to the street. We celebrate all of the holidays on the street together. Easter, New Year's, 4th of July, and Halloween, I like to host. And so I've been on that street for over 20 years, I think now. No, 20 years. That goes by fast. And 2 days ago, there was a shooting here in Midtown. You might have heard it, it's on national news now. And there was a fatality in that shooting. And that fatality was one of my neighbors. And here we find ourselves in a situation that others have found themselves in. Again, I am not looking for sorries or anything. And if it's hard to watch me choke up, or trust me, I will fall apart and cry at some point, then I would love for you to ask yourself why. Why is it difficult to observe and why is it difficult to watch? I think it's really important we understand the why you feel a certain way when you're listening to topics and how you choose to show up for certain topics. And this is kind of what the exercise is for. So just stay cool as a cucumber and very soft as we go through this. And if you feel that knee jerk reaction to say you're sorry or to come up with oh, I'm happy this isn't happening to me, or oh my God, this is horrible. We need to rise to the occasion and just level the playing field. I just want you to ask why. Why do you have that reaction and where is it coming from? What need is it fulfilling? Is it your need to stay in control? Is it because you don't feel solid on your feet that you can't fix something? Is it your over compassionate heart wanting to reach out and soothe things? We don't get to have a lot of hard conversations. Because normally our live streams, that when we talk, we're getting into spiritual topics and intuition. It's a rare occasion that we can um, have a moment like this. So, I am learning a lot about myself in showing up in the face of tragedy, which is, definition again, tragedy, something that was not planned for, and something that we feel, or I feel, because I'm going to only speak from I, that has turned a storyline off. And I see this a lot in my readings, whether this was an accidental, like fentanyl use, and or this was a car accident. This was a drunk driver incident on somebody walking on the side of the street, or hit another car, or whether they were a part of some kind of robbery or shooting or incident. There are so many different variations of tragedy, so many different kinds of situations that can, as an observer, which is where I stand, turns a storyline off, takes a life. And it can very much feel that you've been robbed from making closure, saying goodbye, understanding where that person was at that time of transition. Um, and there are other emotions that you wrestle with as they come up. And that's what I'm going to talk about today and see if it can help you um, join me in the journey and maybe practice your spiritual bandwidth with your emotions. So I have a very strong belief, and I definitely say strong. I have a strong belief that everything has great purpose. Everything has great meaning. And I have that strong belief because of the more than 30 years I've done readings. I have seen it thousands and thousands of times over and over again, and with thousands and thousands of times of absolute proof and validity. So for me, I'm unwavered in that. I'm not struggling with that. And so if you are, um, I hope that you just stay with it and keep getting curious and asking questions about where are you and how you connect to the meaning of tragedy, to the meaning of why somebody's storyline or their life has ended or closed up, however you want to call these things. So I connect that everything has a purpose and a meaning. So there's something deep inside of me that can stay extremely calm and understanding to some of the craziest situations. We won't go into them, but the many different ways that people can transition, and there are some unique ones. But I can sit with that, and I'm being challenged this time because it's so close to home that it's in our neighborhood family that I don't want to just sit with that deep, unwavering spiritual connection. There is a part of me, my throat is choking up and getting smaller. I'm noticing it's harder to breathe. And with each breath that I take, it's getting easier and softer, and that it's nicer when I close my eyes because I don't see myself in the computer. And it feels good to smile. Okay, those are my moments of checking in with my body when my emotions are getting so big that I can't talk through them. So instead of running away or walking away or just pushing through them and not acknowledging them, I'm going to, through our talk today, immediately start announcing what my body is doing and how it's feeling. I can hear my voice quiver. So going back to it, I look at it and I want to, it's strange. I want to make my friends, I don't even know how to put it into words. I want my friends' life, her story, to um, shine as bright as it did, or just, I don't know what to say, make sense. I want it to make sense because with this particular incident, I know my friend wasn't looking for the end of her days. She wasn't looking for any kind of relief in this manner. She wasn't considering it. She is a very happy, proactive, athletic, incredible mother, friend, wife, silly, creative, all of this. And so I hear my clients talk to me about, why do the good ones get taken? It's a phrase I hear quite a bit. Why do the good ones get taken? And I know that there are agreements and contracts. And it's not that they were taken, it is as if there is the most perfect time that they could have exited, no matter how odd or strange or violent or tragic, that was their perfect moment to leave. And now that they have stepped out of it, it is time for the people in their orbit, like their neighbors or their family, their friends, their children, their greater community at work, all the lives that they've touched, to then sit back and reflect and continue to hold that light that the friendship or the relationship had given them, but be able to use it in a way that is in a greater service. So there is a ripple that comes from every choice that we make on earth. And so I am working with this ripple that I'm sitting in, wanting the human side of me, wanting to be so angry about the carelessness of somebody else interrupting somebody else's life. But at the same time, holding so firmly a contradicting thought and embodying that feeling that we all have a contract, and this was a very intense contract, and that she would have had to agree to this. And to know that she would have agreed to this is to know that something else is being planted and something else is growing, but we can't see it at this time. So, in these moments of tragedy, I'm recognizing there are a few things that we need to know about ourselves, which, again, we don't get these experiences all the time. So, how would you know? So, I thought it might be useful, number one, to not only be extremely vulnerable and to sit with you today, but to ask the questions and see how that responds with you. Which one of them is, what do I need? When you find yourself in you can call it a high emotional situation, you can call it in moments of grief, moments of sorrow, moments of absolute, just the grief is so hard you are disconnecting from life, a little out of body. What do you need? Because in those moments, you are not going to ask yourself. You might not even have the whereabouts to ask yourself questions about you. Because in moments of tragedy, your light, and I'm watching as my neighborhood is processing this, and I'm watching energy patterns, and I'm observing. I have a front row seat, and I want, of course, it impacts me, but I want it to impact me a way where I will carry this in a beautiful way that creates a better outcome for myself, that maybe to influence others. So I'm taking it the chat thread does not work, which I am highly disappointed. I was very much into looking at what you were going. Oh, it's back. Oh my God, it's back. And you could hear me at the beginning? Okay. Oh, Marnie, thank you for joining Lumavolve. Okay. Hi, you guys are my healing extension. All right. So I'm gonna hold some people's feet to the fire. Um, Hello, Mass. Hello, Cheryl. Thank you for reaching out. Some of you are saying sorry or sorry for your loss. I want to understand more about what the sorrow is from, because I don't think you're a sorry person and you weren't involved in anything. So when you give me the I'm sorry, it's not reflecting anything to me, but now it's almost giving me an extra step to hold you and your emotions when I would have been the one in need. So an I'm sorry doesn't express much. If you could tell me how you felt, like you are sad to hear the news I'm sharing, then I can connect to that you are sad about this experience. But if you're sorry, it ignites something in me to want to help you not be sorry. You're not really in the story with me. You weren't in control. I wasn't in control. I'm in the observer seat, as I said. But I would like for you to look a little bit deeper to understand. Sabrina is saying, Holy Spirit has stated to me that they have fulfilled their contract. Pain and suffering, loss, we all have our own in our contracts. We do. So I'm hoping that I'm going to take this because I've been observing people's light to then explain how maybe energetically that our reactions when we are in high emotional situations, what it does to our energetic body. And it literally looks like there are two of you, double, as if the soul itself is floating kind of up and behind the physical body. And there is almost a double layer of auric energy. And I do know that we can disconnect to our life storylines kind of easily if it's something we haven't experienced before, we don't know how, or we have trauma wrapped around it, childhood trauma, or if we have experiences with it before that just are really reacted, that it's hard to come to the table with it. Kayla is sharing, my eyes were tearing up with you while you were speaking and felt empathy for the situation. Thank you, Kayla. Sheldon, you know, Jamie, when tragedy happens, I just think of this as all like a movie. Those people who played their parts and did their jobs. Right. That's kind of like my spiritual grounding element right there. It was like they have a contract. I know she agreed to this. I know she put herself in this situation. It was the most perfect timing, guys. And just not really meant to be total perfect timing for this situation to occur. Um, but at the same time, when you're part of the storyline, you can struggle to believe that somebody be willing to receive this. And how can we accept something so devastating and traumatic with a smile on our face and a peace? Because we are taught that in these situations, we need to blow up, we need to get big, we need to seek revenge, we need to cure it, we need to rally, we need to expose. And this new fight comes out, this new fight energy comes up. And I'm doing my best to acknowledge it. I don't want to react to it, but I want to admit that it's there. And I want to set it down. I want it to rest a little bit because what I really feel connected to is just holding the space for what has happened. and not judging it terrible, awful, or beautiful, judging it as it is what it is. And that lack of emotion can be very disturbing to people. We already on planet Earth, at least in America as I talk, get a little confused around grief. How are you supposed to grieve? Because people will look at you and say, You're not you're not bawling your eyes out. You must be a psychopath. Why are you crying? Why aren't you sad? You need to be sad about this. You're just in shock. Like they're already judging your expression of your emotion. And so giving nothing, giving neutral can be extremely alarming. So I'm trying that on and balancing that as well. Um, Haran, was this um, yes, this was, yes, the accident that occurred was in a public place. It was a public shooting that did not need to take place. Sabrina says, if all is for our benefit, nothing is going wrong or bad. See, I really resonate with that statement. She says, we would not be who we are if we haven't had the experiences we've had. Be not sorry for what another person is experiencing, it is for their benefit. Yeah. Judy, I can feel the shock of loss and emotions in my gut. I really just want to listen to you and others here. Hi, Mom. Just gonna breathe. Your mama's love will do this. That's my stepmom, Jane, and her love. I feel it. Thanks. All right, if you're having a hard time watching, just take a deep breath. So, our question is, what do you need in times where you are out of your body experiencing something completely, maybe unfathomable? What do you need? So, I didn't have my answer. And my neighbors, again, wonderful people. Wonderful because they're attentive, they actively hold space. They're not just doing it because that's the thing that is suggested to do, they actually do it. And they communicate really well. Oh, so cool. And so here they are going, what do you need? I was like, I don't need anything. And what I found out is I do need something. I need to contribute. When I'm in moments of being out of my body because of, reacting to a situation, I find that my act of contribution is way beyond healing. And it's not that I want to contribute to show people that I am useful or contribute so that I can observe people's gratitude, so I can get something in return. It's not like that. I want to do something and I don't need to be seen for it. I get a little awkward when people thank me for doing things. I kind of curl in. So I found out how I show up, which is another question. How do you show up in moments like this? Whether it is deep grief, transition, um, tragedy, how do you show up? What is your go to? And it's been a part of my neighborhood chat thread where some of us find out one of my neighbors shows up in a way where she figures out what's needed, she goes and gets it, and she organizes it. She's brilliant at it. Um, Another neighbor shows up by physically holding space. Her reaction was, I'm opening my home. She put a sign on her door. She calls it house hours. She calls it home base. And it's open. And we go there for all of our meals. This is how incredible. And we make meals for each other and we all bring them down. And we sit together with the kids as well. And because my friend had younger kids, and all the young kids play together. So they are all aware. And this is, for some of them, the first transition of a relationship that they've had. I have another neighbor who shows up by checking on health, like the health and the food and the how's your mental health. Each neighbor had their own unique way. One was project oriented, so got onto the backside and set up and made, lists and got my friends groups together so that we were all on the same page and we weren't operating independently. She became an investigator, project oriented. We have one person who's a little bit of a humor relief. And for me, I wanted to contribute. So I called my dad. I was like, how do you contribute? And I have all ages here. And I want to contribute in a way that is non-denominational, a way where people can have internal time and external time, like to speak out to the neighborhood group. So last night we gathered at sunset, and throughout the day I had my husband was so nice to go get me white bags, and I had little candles to put in them, and we made luminaries. And every kid in person got to write little messages and draw things. And some kids were very creative, some knew, some were old, some are old enough to know. And we stood out there, and with each candle we lit, we gave it meaning. I needed meaning to it. And when we have someone who transitions, there's a flip side to looking at how that transition is working. We look at what is taken from us. We no longer have the physical body, so we don't have that same relationship. But for them, they no longer have the same relationship with everybody in their life. Their spouse, their children, their parents, grandparents, everybody, work, everything changes. And everybody who is in relationship with this person who's transitioned is working through their grief and understanding. And they're linking it to that person. And now the person who's deceased has the ability to hear and receive all of it. So here you are thinking about a singular person who's transitioned, but on the flip side, the person who's transitioned is receiving hundreds of hits and messages of sorrow, grief, happiness, best wishes, all of it. So I wanted to contribute a moment to my friend where we only gave her best wishes. We didn't give her for, about 3 minutes. We didn't give her any kind of sadness or sorrow or angst or anger, disappointment in the situation, but happiness. So through my contribution, which is how I show up, that helped me stay more vulnerable and more open to the situation. If you are just joining us, we are talking about in the face of tragedy as a spiritual person, like how do you manage yourself? And I'm requesting for our talk today that you withhold your I'm sorries. Like I'm sorry for your loss. I would like for you to hold those. I'm not looking for your pity. I'm not looking for your sympathy. I'm really wanting to know if you can come forward and express your empathy. If you can stay present and breathe with me, I can feel the waves of emotion. So I can feel community. I need to laugh. I do laugh. Absolutely. So much love to you at this time. Grateful for sharing this way. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Tammy. It is. We're all human. I just look back and I didn't get a lot of people that shared their emotions with me. So I didn't get a lot of experience. Like, how do you sit with someone who is really in it? How do you stay present? So I thought this might be a nice exercise to stay with it or to give you the opportunity to stay with me. Um, ask the higher power for help. Tammy, absolutely. Ah, thank you. I receive hugs very well. So as we're practicing our empathy, um, I was saying a moment ago, I didn't get a lot of examples. I had parents that were protective, and I absolutely believe they did that out of the biggest hearts that they have. All of my parents are really protective and kind. So it just gives us an opportunity. Overall, what I'm learning is what Spirit has been teaching me since I can remember is that we are incarnated here on earth to experience the variations of love, and that all emotions we experience come from love. And so I sit with that and I like it. And one of the most important things they say to experience on earth, which is something that you can take with you, is your relationship to others. So, community, your relationship to others, your friendships, your your lovers. I don't know, there could be an S on it. I'm just going to put an S on it. But those are all relationships, are extremely, extremely important. I don't exactly know how to wrap this up. It wasn't quite my idea to go live, but Spirit was pretty clear that this would be a good thing to do. So I'm going to believe that I know I've gotten benefit because I just got to talk about it. Um, but I'm going to believe that it was for the greater cause, or maybe one or many of you that just need to witness someone expressing or emoting and just staying present in your body and staying curious about why you're feeling certain ways and what you would like to look at with those and shift them. So, how do you stay present? For me, I breathe. I check in with how my body's feeling, and I'll often talk about it out loud. My throat is still tight. My mouth is still dry. I've got one eye that wants to cry, and the other one is just dry. My thoughts are still loose. I am not sharp. I am not with it. My chest feels like it is 3 times bigger than what it needs to be. My energy feels thin and long and wide. I do feel behind my eyes. I'm aware of what I'm saying. So those are the ways I stay present. And what do you need? If you don't know what needs are, get some need cards. I mean, you can look online and just print them out. What are the cards? Look at them, look at the needs. What do you need? And then once you figure out what you need, then you can then provide it for yourself when you are in these situations, or know how to turn to your sweetheart and say, "This is what I need." So for me, I needed to be of service and I needed to contribute. And once I was doing that, I could process everything that was coming at me. And I stayed in my spiritual light rather than falling into my 3D human. And I liked it a lot. Talking about my emotions, I feel like I can do that okay. But talking about it in front of a camera to you guys, not a comfort zone. I can tell you that. It's not a comfort zone. But I am listening to spirit, and we are doing this because it's for some greater outcome. So once you know what you need, you ask yourself, how do you show up? So what are your talents? Know this now. Don't wait until you're in something. Know it now. Know how you can contribute. Are you the chef? Are you the cleaner? Can you do some laundry for somebody else? Are you the organizer? Are you the entertainment? Are you the driver, the home maintenance, the lawn guy? Like, what is your speciality? What do you connect to, and how do you show up? Like, what are you going to give? And then this is all leading to the point of how you can process your transition in your life, or if you're looking at it as a loss, if you're looking at it as death, whatever it is. I would just really like for us to have more conversation about what this looks like. Not so much in I'm going to get myself in trouble. I was going to say, I'm going to tell you anyways, not so much in a therapeutic setting, but therapy is incredible. I love therapeutic sessions, like, and environments. I don't mean it in that way, but it's not like coming to really heal you. But oh my God, give me a shovel, guys. I am obviously digging a hole right now. Oh, God. But um, have more conversation in a very casual, normalized way about tragedy, death, loss, dying, those topics that are a little bit more thicker to swallow. And I'm interested in looking at content that's already out there, because this is not a rabbit hole that I go down, because I work so much with spirit. I hear it from them that I don't necessarily reach out and look at what man-made books and content and videos are out there. So if you do have links, drop them in. Would love to know or hear about it. Um, yeah. Thank you so much, Sally. The normalizing of it is important. Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah. Sending love and peace to you. Yay. Yes. So if you are new here, it is in the face of tragedy as a spiritual person, because, jumping from that 3D to 5D, staying high vibe when something so 3D is, pulling itself out through agreements and contracts. The human side of you really has been trained since childhood, sometimes like to rear its head. So, as a spiritual, a neutralist, an embracer of compassion and empathy, dealing with the human side of not understanding, um, being deeply sad, being, um, and the sadness is so. Um, Maitland used to tell me all the time. She still tells me, grief is so selfish. I was like, what? When she first told me, I thought, oh my God, don't you ever say this to anybody. And she's like, no, but it's really true. Grief is very selfish. Grief is that person in deep sorrow about their loss that they had with the person. It's selfish. It has nothing to do with looking at the greater picture. The grief is internalized. Well, that's an interesting way of looking at it. So I'm processing my sadness, and I do understand that it's the change of my environment that I'm processing. Um, so that is what we're having a conversation over. There has been there was a shooting here in Atlanta a few days ago, and there was one fatality, and that fatality was my neighbor. And so we are coming together as a community on our street to support all the change. And it is my world right now. Okay, that's all I have to say. I really appreciate you holding space and listening and possibly asking the questions for yourself and allowing me to process out loud. I hope this chat was cohesive and I didn't start something and drop it and jump to something else, but I told you my head's a little soft. And lastly, guys, where are you on giving advice? Why why are you I'm not saying all of you are doing this. I don't know how to present it, but when someone is expressing a lot of emotions or sharing where they come from, if some of your knee-jerk reactions is to give advice, I'd like you to ask, why are you giving advice? I wasn't asking for it. I didn't ask for your directions. I didn't ask for you to give anything. I asked for you to hear me, to stay present with me. And if something inside of you just wanted to give me something and tell me how it was going to be or do, I would like for you to know, where did it come from? Did it come from your need to have some sense of contribution? Did it come in a way where you wanted to show what you know? Um, did you need a little attention while I was sharing something that maybe was uncomfortable? What was coming up for you? We're doing the spiritual work. This is the way to do the spiritual work. And there's no time like the present, especially to have somebody who is going to sit there and question what you're bringing to the table. Why are you bringing what you are to the table? Uh, I'm still seeing some advice. When I tell people I have a disease, right away, they always want to share a story or give advice, even though I didn't ask for it, says Marnie. Yeah. So it's a curious, like, you want to know, where is that advice coming from? Why do they have to give me that story? I'm already holding something very big. I don't want to hold yours too. I want the empathy. I want to look at your eyes and see that you can reflect me so that I can decompress a little bit. I can let the pressure out. Interesting, right? Regina knows it. Rose says, I usually look for solutions. Yeah, sometimes me too. I have to stop myself a lot and I have to turn to somebody and just ask them, do you even need my help? Most of the time, they don't. Do you want to hear my advice? Do you want to hear my insight? Do you want to hear what I'm thinking of? Most of the time, they don't. They don't have the bandwidth. They don't have any more hands to hold anything else. So full. Tatiana, thank you. Even in sadness, you're shining your light. I'm telling you, I feel better when I shine my light. Thank you for noticing. Shay, I so feel you, and I'm holding space for you anytime you need it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tammy. These are wonderful observations. I don't even know how to take them right now, but I appreciate it. because it's something that I work on. Always darkest before the dawn. Right, Bradley? It's like something really beautiful in that. Sabrina says, when a different perspective is shared, it can open a door for those listening or watching to see their own experiences differently. It shines a light on another's darkness in a way to see a way out or through. I love you guys too. Thank you for being here. I really hope you have an incredible day. And that if a story of tragedy helps you look in your life about what's abundant and what you're grateful for, wonderful. I think, in my opinion, living life where we are focused, where we focus our perspective on what brings us joy, abundance, you know, that happiness, that acceptance, it's only going to, in return, give us more of it. But we need to stay present in all waves of emotion and all variations of love. The variation of love I'm sitting in is not the easiest, but I'm building a relationship with it. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend or whenever you're watching. And I will be back next week. You'll probably just see a different face inside of everything that's going on. Take care of yourselves. Reach out to those you love. Let them know. Take care, everybody. Bye.